Hi, everyone. Nick Cantrell, Green Future Wealth Management. So today we're talking about the fork in the road, which is the title in the email that was sent to federal government employees offering them a buyout to leave. So we've been getting some questions from some clients that this impacts, or maybe it impacts a brother or cousin, and they have all sorts of questions, as we all do. And there are not a ton of answers, to be quite honest. As most of what we've seen, it's pretty vague, pretty short on answers, which of course makes decision making very difficult. But I wanted to go ahead and push this video out as soon as possible because the deadline to accept is February 6th, which is what I think 9 or 10 days after employees received the unexpected email. And so all of this financial decision making that could impact your life and your family's financial security and your pension and your health care and all of these different things, you have a tight, 9 or 10 days to get it done. So I do have a blog post that's going to be coming out in the next day or two, just finishing that up, and it has to go through review process before it goes up on the website. But I wanted to post a video as soon as possible. So what I've done is I put together pros and cons of accepting this offer. There are a lot of government employees that are just taking the approach of, I don't care what the deal is, I'm not accepting. You're going to have to fire me if you want me gone. That's been really popularized on some Reddit subthreads, and there is a lot of online groups that cater to federal employees have recommended that people take that approach. But for a lot of government workers, they need to decide this based off of what's going to be the best choice for their family. It's a really critical decision for a lot of them. It could mean financial security or financial ruin for their family, their kids, their parents, everybody. So what I wanted to do is just really briefly go through some of the pros and some of the cons from this. So we'll start with the pros. The first is that this could actually be an opportunity for a career transition. All pay would continue according to the emails and the OPM memo that went out, um, would continue through September 30th. So, in particular, I think that this offer is going to be most attractive for people who were already looking to get out anyways. And maybe they've got a couple irons in the fire, and maybe they had already seen the writing on the wall. And ever since November, they've been casting around saying, where's my next opportunity going to be? For those people, if you're already mid process or potentially even later process in a job hunt, this could be a really great opportunity because you could receive pay and benefits for 8 months. And ostensibly, unless they change the rules halfway through or down the road after happening, which is a big concern here because there's very few details, this could be an opportunity to get paid double, or depending upon how much you're making, get paid from two different organizations, the government as well as your new employer. Um, so unfortunately, because the timeline is so tight, with less than 2 weeks, if you're not already mid job hunt, this might be difficult. So that's opportunity. Pro number one is opportunity for your transition, particularly if you're transitioning anyways. Number two is you could avoid potential layoffs this way. My 8-year-old son, his favorite show is Beast Games, the new Mr. Beast one on Prime Video. And there are a bunch of people who get kicked out of this game. They're all competing for $5 million. I'll spare you the details. But people are dropping like flies left and right because it's 1,000 people competing. And a bunch of people will take, 20,000 or 30,000 or 40 or 50,000 in a specific challenge as an opportunity to eliminate themselves and grab some money on the way out. And you may say, well, how could they accept $30,000 instead of the 5 million that they're going for. Um, but in their mind, they're probably not getting anything. And this is a big piece of, I think, the financial decision making that people need to make, which is if I give this up and say, no, you're going to have to fire me to get me out of here, they may get laid off next month and they may get nothing. And so that's a really big concern for many people. And I think it's the one piece that's really swaying people to say, I don't want this, but maybe I'm going to consider it. Um, there, pro number three, you could have a potential for higher earnings. The federal government work tends to pay lower than commensurate work in the private industry. So, depending upon what your situation is with your family as it regards to benefits, retirement savings, pensions, retirement income, um, if you have children, what their status is, um, you could potentially get higher earnings in private employment. And with an 8-month window to find it, you could theoretically position yourself and say, I'm going to take the next 8 months, maybe get a certification in something or other, brush up your resume, brush up your skills, and it could potentially be a springboard to higher earnings. And the last thing that I was thinking about as I was casting around for pros on this is theoretically, if you're earning double income for an 8-month period of time, you could use that as a way to really goose your retirement savings and set aside or pay down debt or set aside for retirement or college savings. So it could really provide a springboard to accomplishing some of your financial goals. So that's it. Those are the four pros that I came up with. We have more cons than pros. We have 6 of those. Con number one, and I think that this is one of the biggest for people, is President Trump is notorious for not paying vendors and what I essentially refer to as welching on his deals. So many people, including many contractors, real estate contractors, who have been burned and would refuse to work as any part of any of his projects, um, don't trust him to live up to his offer. So for many people, this is the biggest issue, which is if I resign and you come back at 3 weeks and say the deal's changed, now it's not 8 months pay, it's 2 months pay. What are your legal protections for that? I don't know. This is unprecedented. So I'm not an attorney, but I have seen nowhere, and I've been researching for this video for quite a bit. I have seen no attorneys, no labor attorneys, employment attorneys that are pointing me to any ironclad legal protections for I resigned and then the Trump administration changed the deal after I did it. So that's a big, big, big con for many people, and it's I think one of the number one things that's turning people off. The next con is somewhat of a piece of that, which is legal ambiguity here. There are real questions about the legality of this offer, including whether it aligns with the federal employment laws and budget constraints. Senator Tim Kaine on Tuesday on the Senate floor said, if you tender your resignation by next Friday, we'll guarantee you payment for the end of September, whether or not you show up for work, quoting President Trump and quoting the OPM memo. And he went on to say, the president has no authority to make that offer. There's no budget line item to pay people who are not showing up for work. There are laws in place and procedures in place for reduction in force in federal agencies. This is not the first time that there have been reductions in force or buyout offers for members of government agencies, and they didn't look anything like this. And so I think that there's serious questions as to whether or not this would stand up in court, and also whether or not there would be any legal protections for people who accepted this offer were the details of it changed. So those I think are related issues, but they're one and two, I think, for a lot of people in terms of their list of why they may not proceed with this. Number three is the loss of federal benefits. So a big reason why people will often go to work for the federal government is ex, uh, the federal benefits. There's a pension program, there's good health insurance benefits, there's a thrift savings plan for retirement, there's paid holidays, all of that, accrued sick leave, all of these things. So accepting the buyout means ostensibly that you would be giving up or at least reducing some of these. The OPM memo, Office of Personnel Management memo, that gave information on this, like most of the memos that have come out in the last week and a half, have been very thin on details. Um, Questions that people have been asking are, will I continue to accrue leave and sick leave? Will I be paid out for my annual leave? What happens to my unused sick leave that I've been accumulating for 15 years? Um, if What's the cutoff date for my health and dental insurance? And how does this impact my pension? Will I receive pension service credits for this period of time where I'm in a transition here, 8 months? Will that not be credited to my pensionable service because I'm not actually working? None of those details have been answered. And so, as I said at the beginning, more questions than answers on a lot of this, which is giving many people some pause. And I think that this is the area, sort of the benefits, retirement plan, all of that pension. How will it impact my pension 15 years from now? These are the areas where you really need to work with a professional, I think. Unfortunately, you've got 7 days. So it's part of the reason I wanted to push this video out. If you have a financial professional, financial planner, CFP, hopefully, then now's the time to reach out to them. Even if you're not considering this, because if you decide that maybe I should consider it 2 days out, you're gonna want to have some questions answered. So reach out, ask the questions. If you have access or you know a financial planner, reach out, shoot us an email. We'll see if we can help you. And because these issues, these pension and retirement benefits, we don't know whether you'll have reinstatement provision or privileges if you decide to come back to work, or what that would look like. We don't know. Uh, but so there is decision making that you can do, saying, well, assuming you don't have any ability to come back in, and you're not gonna receive any payouts for unused sick leave, and you're not gonna receive any benefits and credits to your pension. What does it look like then? That's the sort of work that I think a financial planner is really helpful for. So that's con number three. Con number four, uncertain job market. We haven't seen a huge shift in the labor market in a pretty short period of time. But if we're looking at a situation where there's going to be a dramatic number of people entering the labor market, particularly with similar backgrounds from a similar employer, it could make it more difficult. The federal government employs about 3 million people. It's one of the largest employers in the country. It's about 2% of the US labor force. And it's hard to tell how many people are going to accept this. So I don't know how much this will impact the current labor market, but certainly if you do a specialized task that has normally been done within the government, and you and all of your buddies are leaving with all the same set of skills and experiences, it might be challenging. It might be more challenging than you would otherwise expect. So I do think that needs to factor in here. Um, Number five, there is certainly the potential that this could be renegotiated or withdrawn completely. If legal challenges arise, the buyout offer could be delayed, reduced, revoked. Who knows? And I really think that you need to consider that before. Uh, Apparently, the formal process is to type a reply email from your work email address to the email that you got saying resign. That's it. That's the formal process. So before you type that email, um, I think that's something to consider. And then the last one is health insurance considerations. Most federal employees are relying on the government-backed insurance unless they're receiving it from a spouse. Um, Losing it pretty decent coverage. Losing it could really jack up your out-of-pocket expenses. It's unclear the details around how health insurance will be treated, although the OPM memo said that all benefits will continue through September 30th. So you would assume that would be the case. Um, but those would be the sorts of things that I would be wanting to try to obtain clarification on before I made this decision. So uh, that's our sixth con. This was put together somewhat hastily given the timeline, but I think at the end of the day, this is a huge decision with a very short, finite period of time to accept. February 6th is the closing date on it. And I think that everybody needs to weigh it individually based on their individual circumstances, the circumstances of their family. I listed more cons than pros. We could have probably put 20 in each category if we spent the time there. But I think that you need to seek financial advice, likely legal advice, before you make a decision, especially considering, President Trump's track record of non-payment and the legal uncertainties around this offer. I hope that this was helpful, and I hope within the next 8 or 9 days we know more than we do now, because this could have dramatic impact on, a million people or more, all within the next week. So everybody be well and take care of yourselves.